Hello and welcome to Japanese in 5, where we take 5 minutes out of your busy day and teach you Japanese. This is for the people that say, I don't have enough time to learn Japanese. I would love to learn, but I'm so busy. 5 minutes, that's all we require. Let's go ahead and do it. This is Japanese in 5, number 23. And even though this is number 23, we're going to do something that we haven't done before. That is teach an easy concept. We're going to teach how to say it is and it isn't, because I am planning on a book called Korean in 5, and I kind of want to keep some of the basic stuff in there too. So let's look at it. Here's the first word you're going to learn, even in the Japanese from Zero Book Series. It's basically des. Not basically, it is. And des, even though it's written desu, is almost always said des. It means is, am, are, was, were, be, being, been, had, have, all of those sort of things. It's the be verbs in English. Is, am, are. Think about it as those three things, okay? At a minimum, okay? Let's look at it. Sounds like des, as it says right here. Right here it says sounds like des. The oo is silent. And very important to know this, okay? Des by itself is neutral. Japanese verbs are neutral. It means neutral. That doesn't make any sense to a beginner. But what it means is that it means he is, she is, I am, we are. All the pronouns are neutral. It's whatever you need for that particular moment. All right? So how would you use it? You just throw a noun right up in front of it like this. Inu desu. It's a dog. If I point to my friend, who's a man, and say, inu desu, now it means he's a dog. If I point to myself and say, inu desu, and by the way, Japanese don't point like this, they point like this to their nose. Inu desu, I am a dog, okay? Point to you and say, inu desu, it's you're a dog, all right? All right? This little circular thing right here, that's a Japanese period. That's how they make their periods, and you would need to do the same thing. All right? Here we go. Here's another phrase. Neko desu. It's a cat. Neko desu. Okay? Why do I have this twice? I have no idea. Let's move on. So what if you want to know how to say, what is it? So we know how to say the answer to what it is. Here's the question. Nan desu ka? Nan desu ka? Now you might have learned that nani is nan, is what, but nani is a standalone version. When you're using it in a sentence, it's always going to be, almost always going to be, nan. Nan desu ka? And the ka at the end is the question marker. Nan desu ka? What is it? So let's look at this. Nan desu ka? Nan desu ka? Think about it. We don't have a lot of time. We've got 2 more minutes. Neko desu, right? Nan desu ka? Neko desu. All right? Now, I can also ask you directly, is it a cat? Using what we just learned with the sentence nan desu ka, you can just remember what you learned there. Knowing that ka is a question marker, you can say neko desu ka? In English, we have to mix up the words in the response, but in Japanese, you just add ka. Neko desu ka? Is it a cat? Neko desu ka? All right. The answer to that will be, hai, neko desu. Yes, it's a cat. Hai, neko desu. All right. And you'll notice that the Japanese comma is this different shape. All right, let's move on. If it's a dog instead of a cat, you would say, iie, inu desu. Iie, inu desu. No, it's a dog. Very simple. We have 1 minute left. We're probably going to need more time. All right. So this is what it was. No, it's a dog. Iie, inu desu. All right. So how do you say it's not something, right? We know how to say, yes, it's a cat, or no, it's a dog. But how do you say it's not a cat or it's not a dog? That is done using this word janai. Janai. Now, when you learn Japanese, other books will say, ja arimasen, or ja, they'll say dewa arimasen, or dewa nai. But it doesn't matter what those books say because they're mostly wrong. In everyday Japanese, you will almost always hear janai. It's not impolite, it's totally perfect, and if you throw a des at the end of it, it is perfectly normal everyday Japanese. So you could say, for example, if you're looking at this picture of a rabbit, which is usagi, If you say, or 5 minutes is up, I apologize. I'm going to borrow like another 3 minutes from you guys. All right, so if you say, what is this? Is it a cat? Neko desu ka? You could say, neko janai desu. It's not a cat. Neko janai desu. All right? You could say ja arimasen. You could say dewa nai desu. You could say anything like that, but you shouldn't, because janai is what every Japanese person uses. Okay? The only people that use ja arimasen are people that are like a little bit pissed off and they're saying, so ja arimasen. That is not the case. Right? They're trying to be like a little bit upset. And foreigners that learn Japanese, and that's the only way that they learn how to say it. And I know when you're in Japanese class, your teacher makes you say it. I wish they wouldn't, because some Japanese teacher feel like they can never teach you the real way that things are said. They have to teach you the way that they have to teach you, the way according to the guidelines. But people don't speak this way. All right, let's look at this next one. It isn't a cat. Got that. So let me ask you a question. Inu desu ka? Think of the answer. Inu desu ka? What does that mean? Is it a dog? All right. What's the answer to that? How would you say, no, it isn't a dog? How would you say that? No, it isn't a dog. I think some of you got it. It's iie, inu janai desu. Iie, inu janai desu. Perfect. All right, let's look at this one. So we have the same picture, right? So I asked you, is it a dog? Inu desu ka? And the answer right there was, iie, inu janai desu. My next follow-up question would be then, well then, what is it? So here's a word you probably haven't heard before. Ja. Can be lengthened a little bit there. It doesn't have to be just ja. A lot of times there's an ah after the ja. Say, ja. Right? Ja plus ah makes it longer. Ja, nan desu ka? Ja, nan desu ka? Well then, what is it? Well then, what is it? This ja is really a good thing to know when you're a beginner, because you can throw it on in front of any sentence. So you could just keep saying ja. Neko desu ka? No, it's not a dog. No, it's not a cat. Ja, and like a little pause word, right? Ja uma desu ka? Well then, is it a horse? All right. So you say to them, ja nan desu ka? Well then, what is it? And they could say, usagi desu. Usagi desu. And kind of a nice way to remember that is, ooh, it's so soggy when you touch it. So soggy. Ooh, soggy. Usagi. Rabbit. All right? So, here's something that's really important to know in Japanese when you're a beginner, okay? And this is, I realize Japanese in 5, but we've extended a little bit. Japanese doesn't really have plurals like English. When you say inu, it means dog and dogs. It means both. So, for example, if we're looking at a bunch of dogs and I say, and like I'm not sure what kind of animal they are, I could say, inu desu ka? And because Japanese doesn't have plurals, right? Every noun is plural and singular, and because des itself is plural, pronoun independent, it means it's neutral. That same phrase can mean, is it a dog? Or are they dogs? Inu desu ka? Are they dogs? Right? And nan desu ka can mean, what is it? And what are they? Because plural and singular are the same thing in Japan. All right? All right, here we go. Nan desu ka? What is it? Nan desu ka? Right? But I'm not saying what is it, am I? If there's 3 of them, what am I saying? I'm saying, what are they? That's what it translates into English, but Japan does not distinguish. Nan desu ka? What are they? Inu desu ka? Does that mean, is it a dog in this case? No, because there's 3. You say, they are dogs. Or sorry, that wasn't the answer yet. I said, nan desu ka? What are they? And then I gave my guess. Inu desu ka? Are they dogs? Well, are they? Hai. Inu desu. Yes, they are dogs. All right, let's look at this new word here. Buta. Just to give you some more words, okay? Buta. Pig. And pigs. Uma. Uma. Horse and horses. It's both of them. Kore wa nan desu ka? I added a little bit more complex sentence. Didn't mean to teach you that this time, but that would mean, what is this specifically? But I don't need to say kore wa. I can just look at this and point and say, "Nan desu ka?" What is it? What is this? It's assumed. Even the this doesn't need to be said because we know I'm pointing to it. We know I'm saying, what is this? What is it? And the answer is, kaeru desu. Kaeru. Kaeru. Now, the word kaeru also means to change. It means to return. But it would be written with different kanji. Japanese has a lot of similar sounding words. But don't worry about it. You know, you might be thinking, well, gosh, if kaeru can mean to return and frog and to change, I might screw it up and use the wrong one at the wrong time. You won't, though, because it's all context, right? You're never going to say, oh gosh, look, there is a return. You wouldn't say it. They would know if you say, look, there's a kaeru, they would know it means there's a frog. That would be the only thing they would assume it is. If you say, ie ni kaeru, ie ni kaeru, to my house I will frog. No, to my house I will change. That doesn't make sense either. The only thing it can mean is, I will return to my house. You see how the sentence provides context, and also the conversation, the situation will provide context. If you're working at something at your job or at school, your teacher says this sentence is wrong, or your boss says you need to fix this, you could say, kaeru, I will change it. Kaemasu. That's the more polite way of saying it, right? Kaemasu. So that's why, it's very important to understand that when you're learning, sometimes you learn words that sound similar and it will really confuse you and you'll think, oh my gosh, you'll fret about it. But the reality is, in real life speaking, you're never ever going to have this problem because context gives it to you. And when you do have the problem, it'll be easy to fix. It'll be an easy way to determine if they meant a frog. If all of a sudden someone stands up and says, kaeru, well, that could mean, kaeru, I'm going home, or oh my gosh, there was a frog. It could literally possibly mean that, but that case is going to be very, very rare. And if someone stands up and says kaeru and they're looking around like that, you know it meant there was a frog. But if they get up and immediately start walking out, okay, they're going home. All right, that is all I had to tell you. I just really want to apologize for taking up. I think this is like, it's like a 12-minute thing that it's taken me to this one. I apologize. Please forgive me for taking up so much of your precious time, but hopefully you've learned some Japanese. We'll see you on the next Japanese in 5. Bye-bye.